AITAH for refusing to get my daughter with severe social anxiety a service dog and forcing her to get a part-time job after what she did? Content warning: abuse of a pet resulting in injury, mention of anxiety and bipolar disorder. My 45F daughter, 15F, suffers from severe social anxiety. It is incredibly crippling and has prevented her from many extracurriculars and even her education over the years. I left my job 5 years ago to start homeschooling her and have since put her in therapy. The therapist and I have been working on getting her into school more and more for the past year and a half. This is all to say, I am not trying to shame my daughter for her social anxiety at all. It is a debilitating thing to live with and I can see that firsthand. Last month the therapist recommended getting a service dog for my daughter in order to be able to help her navigate public settings better. Despite thinking this was a huge responsibility, I did see the excitement on my daughter's face. She really wanted a dog and seemed determined to continue her progress with the help of an animal. I was initially on board with this and started the necessary research required. However, a few weeks ago I left my daughter with my sister-in-law for a few days because my mother was sick and I needed to visit her a few hours away and my husband was on a work trip. The plan was for Mysael to continue her homeschooling for as many hours as she could manage, but instead I got a call from her 2 days in demanding I take my daughter back home. I came to find out that my sister-in-law had to leave the house for a few hours and asked my daughter to take care of her senior dog. This dog is very old and small. She was adopted just over a year ago, so she's still a bit weary of people. My daughter, in an attempt to recreate some stupid online video, took this senior dog to the roof of the house and left her there. The poor thing was so scared she shit herself on the roof, shaking, while my daughter filmed. Of course this didn't go to plan and the dog ended up falling off the roof and into the swimming pool out of sheer luck. However, due to her age and size the dog ended up breaking a few ribs and her paw. When I heard this I was absolutely livid. I confronted my daughter immediately and she admitted to wanting to recreate a video she saw online. She then proceeded to use a defense that went along the lines of, "That dog is old. If it were younger, nothing would have happened." She also mentioned how she didn't really think what she did was that bad because it's an unloved shelter dog with no real value like a service dog or newborn puppy. I was very upset to hear these words coming out of my daughter's mouth. I have no idea where she learned this from, considering neither me or my husband share these beliefs. I instantly told my daughter that she would not be getting a service dog. I also told her that she would have to pay her aunt's vet bill no matter what it took. Because the bill is in the thousands, she will have to find a way to make that money. My daughter got upset and said I was being unfair because she can't get a job due to her social anxiety, but I told her she should have thought about that before doing what she did. My daughter has since then been attempting to search for a part-time job that requires minimal face-to-face interaction. Despite me and my husband helping her, she was only able to find a waitress job. I asked my sister-in-law if she was okay with my daughter working the vet bill off instead, but she refused, saying she really had no interest in having my daughter anywhere near her house or dog again, and I honestly thought that was fair enough, so I told my daughter she had to find a way to stick with this because that vet bill was her responsibility only. My husband told me I might be an AH for suggesting our daughter pay off the entire bill and that we should probably just restrict her pocket money until the bill is paid off. I think that's not a good enough punishment because her pocket money isn't earned. It's what me and my husband give her for free time at the start of the week. Also, this bill is entirely her fault and therefore her responsibility. It's unfortunate that the only jobs available are in customer service, but what else can we do? My daughter's therapist also reached out saying she thinks it was wrong of me to completely take the service dog idea off the table, considering it is a medical necessity, as well as pointing out that suddenly forcing my daughter into an unfamiliar job may be a bit too daunting. Are my husband and my daughter's therapist right? Am I being too harsh on my daughter? Relevant comments. Despite what the therapist says, I'm not sure that a legitimate service animal organization would approve an animal for your daughter. Comment. Kid has stayed home for 5 years with no social interaction with her peers other than stupid TikTok content. Time to take the phone, sign the kid up for a league or art class or something. The therapist is taking in the dough and encouraging this. I swear some kids need good old immigrant parents like mine. Comment. As someone that's always had trouble making friends, my dogs were absolutely treasured. You mean there's this creature that will hang out with me with no expectations and it just needs to be fed and use the bathroom? But OP's kid is like, ha, let me terrify it for the likes. There is something so wrong and off about that. A 15-year-old should know better. This isn't a 5-year-old who maybe doesn't understand that being on a roof is dangerous. Comment. But that's the thing she said. It didn't matter because it was an unwanted shelter dog with no real value like a service dog or newborn puppy. It does show that she thinks about the value of things and what it will do for her, instead of just being happy to have a creature that just exists. Sociopathic behavior she showed as well. It sounds like her one thought with the dog was, how can I use this thing to benefit me, which resulted in the dog on the roof. My oldest is 14 with low impulse control, and while he may do some dumb things, I don't have to worry about him putting other people in danger. Like if I have to run errands, I can trust that he can watch his much younger siblings, and everyone will be okay and alive within reason. And not on the flipping roof. Update 1. Okay, first off, I would like to say that although I was warned Reddit was absolutely brutal, you guys did not hold back. Shout out to the person who DM'd me to tell me to kill myself and my family. I would like everyone to know that I read almost every single comment, even if I didn't reply to all of them. Also to clarify, when I said a service animal I was told that we would be able to get one to alert my daughter of panic attacks and help calm her down. However, after now speaking to other resources, we were explained that what the therapist was talking about was an ESA. Apologies for any confusion, this is new to me. And yes, where we live in America, psychologists can prescribe simple anxiety meds. And also yes, I obviously took away my daughter's phone and laptop after this. She's only allowed what she needs to complete her studies. On to the update, there was also a lot of helpful advice and support, so I do feel like I owe you guys an update. My husband and I have been fighting for weeks now on how to handle this. We did end up taking her to a psychiatrist and she was diagnosed with severe social anxiety, as before, and also bipolar. We were told that the reason she wasn't diagnosed earlier is because she was far too young, and this is something that most likely only became visible very recently as she just hit puberty. So no, my daughter is not a sociopath, sorry to disappoint. And yes, we were told to continue homeschooling as it's too late to put her in a school where everyone has already developed their own friendship groups, etc. I once again had to leave to care for my sick mother, which left my daughter with my husband. Apparently while I was gone my husband thought it was a genius idea to turn up to SIL's house and ask for my daughter to see the dog under supervision. My SIL didn't agree but was coerced by my husband. This is what I'm assuming because despite what my husband says I don't believe she would have been on board with this. My daughter started crying and apologizing, claiming she felt so sad seeing the broken senior pup, too scared to come close to her. My husband has since decided that in light of this, my daughter deserves her ESA. I completely disagree with this stance and believe that she needs more support, therapy, and a large range of resources not limited to an animal. Even if my daughter is genuinely sorry, this isn't a mistake that can be easily forgiven in a month. I still think we should be pushing her to continue a part-time job, something she's been beginning to do. She's been sent home from the restaurant a few times already for panic attacks and has even complained of vomiting during her breaks. I told her she's welcome to search for other jobs she might find easier, which she has started to do, although it's been almost 3 weeks of working and I have asked her to do this a minimum of 2 months before quitting and finding something else. She's also not allowed to quit unless she comes to me with a different plan to pay the money back. My husband told me he has started the application process for an ESA. I was very angry and asked him to stop, but he argued that he thinks he should take over her care from now and quit his job while I worked instead. I disagree because I'm the one who has been handling it for 6 years, but apparently I don't truly understand just how sorry she is now. In light of this, I contacted my SIL and told her that I think it would be best she file a police report. I do want this on record because, as many of you said, they won't give my daughter an animal if they find out about this. She agreed and filed a report, which was totally heartbreaking for me. It really hurts to have to do something like this to my daughter. My husband did find out and we've now been arguing for days. He's incredibly angry, but I'm attempting to stick with this. I'm not sure how the next few weeks will pan out, but I will say that I'm incredibly worried for the future. I have no idea what to do or how to get my husband to see my side. This is very concerning, but thank you for listening to Reddit. And for those of you who gave advice and support, I really appreciate it. Relevant comments. This is a hill I would die on. That girl does not deserve a dog and you did the right thing telling SIL to file that report. I know that's hard for you, but it was in fact the correct thing. Your husband is being a Disney dad and in the long run that's not going to help your daughter at all. Hopefully real-life consequences will show her how wrong exactly what she did is. Comment. Your husband is an idiot. Her being sorry is not enough to make up for what she did and is no proof that she should be trusted around another animal. Especially with a bipolar diagnosis. Good on you for pushing for a police report. This protects everyone, including any dog that might be subjected to your daughter. Tell your husband to stop with that daddy's girl dad mentality and look at this logically. She is not ready for a dog of her own. That would be completely inappropriate and illogical at this time. What did the psychiatrist say about an ESA? Maybe she should talk to your husband. I still say you need to pay your SIL back. You are still punishing her. Your daughter can pay you back so your SIL doesn't have to pay your SIL back. You are still punishing her. Your daughter can pay you back so your SIL doesn't have to wait forever. Comment. Yeah. Wanted to hop on the top comment to add that myself and a few friends all have various types of bipolar disorder, 1 or 2, and none of us have ever thought to hurt a dog, let alone any animal, during a hypomanic or manic episode. OP needs to make sure they don't use the bipolar disorder as an excuse to dismiss any of the daughter's issues. That's a major empathy problem that existed before the episode. Bipolar disorder is an explanation but not an excuse. Explaining this bit like I'm talking to OP, while in a manic episode you're really not yourself or in control, doesn't change that it's real to others. The hurt you may cause to others during it is very real to them. You have to take accountability for your actions during it and work to be better anyway. Saying, "Oh sorry, I was manic," doesn't erase their hurt. If anything, it causes more pain because you aren't acknowledging what you did to them. That's the first big lesson you have to learn once diagnosed. Not accepting that will make life 10x harder. They should definitely wait at least 6 months before reevaluating if the daughter is actually sorry and could handle a service dog. I'd personally push for a year. If they're going the medication route for it, it can take months to find the right medication and dose alone. The wrong meds can actually accidentally make things worse. There should be zero thoughts of even introducing an animal until she's more stable. There is also a husband problem. He's starting to enable her. She will never progress in managing both social anxiety and bipolar disorder if they enable her. My parents didn't, and it's the best thing they ever did for me. OP, I'd actually recommend a phone job for the daughter. She won't have to leave the house if it's WFH, and they'd give her a script of what to say if she gets nervous, so it's not as on-the-spot feeling as a traditional job can be. It's pretty harsh exposure therapy for phone anxiety specifically, but I didn't really start to cope with my anxiety until I had that job. Emphasis throughout is my own. This commenter nails everything I wanted to say here. Don't worry, I didn't comment or anything over there. I was just perusing the comments to see if anyone said something like the above.